Okay, so for question 27, we're given results of two random samples. They're selected from the same population and the margin of errors were calculated, which I found is the most appropriate reason that the margin of error for sample A is greater than the margin of error for sample B. So A says sample A has a smaller number of votes that could not be recorded. Well, how could a vote not be recorded exactly? So the correct answer is not A. Sample A had the higher percent of favorable responses. Well, the percent of favorable responses does not affect the margin of error. The margin of error is more affected by sample size, so it's not B. And then C says sample A had a larger sample size. Well, having a larger sample size reduces your margin of error, while having a smaller sample size increases your margin of error. So A has a larger would be incorrect, and A has a smaller sample size is correct. So the correct answer is D. Okay, question 28. Okay, so for question 28, we're given that the perimeter is 20 centimeters. So the entire perimeter of this is 20 centimeters. And we see that these are all triangles of the same side length. So this side length are all the same, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5x equals 20 because all these side lengths are the exact same. So 5x equals 20, x equals 20 divided by 5, which is 4. So each of these side lengths is going to be 4. And now we're asked to find the area of the shaded regions. So to find the area of the shaded regions, we have this triangle here. We have side lengths of 4, 4, and 4. So first we divide this triangle in half, like this. Now we have a right triangle. Now we use the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So this 4 gets divided in half. So we have 2 squared plus this height value, which we need to find. So I'm just going to call it x squared equals 4 squared. And then that gets us 2 squared is 4 and 4 squared is 16. So we have 16 minus 4 is 12. So 12 equals x squared. So we have root 12 equals x, where x is the height of each triangle. So x would be this. And then now we can simplify. Um, root 12 is the same thing as 4 times 3. So root 4 times 3, which is the same thing as 2 root 3. And then so our height is 2 root 3. And now we just have to find the area. So the area of a triangle is just base times height divided by 2. And then we have to multiply that by 2 because we have 2 triangles. So it would just be base times height in that case. So we have 2 root 3 multiplied by the base, which is 4. So 2 root 3 times 4 is 8 root 3. So the correct answer is answer choice C, 8 root 3. Okay, question 29. Okay, so for question 29, we have the room is 70 degrees. The initial temperature is 185. After 10 minutes, the final temperature is 135, and it continues to decrease. So which of the following models of temperature? Well, we could plug in, but the first thing is that, well, for A, the temperature increases because this value is greater than 1, so it's not A. And then the second thing we know is that the initial temperature is 185, so that means when M is equal to 0, um, the equation should equal 185. So in this case, when M is 0, this would just be anything to the power of 0 is 1, so this would be 185. That's fine. This would be 185 minus 70 times 1, which is not 185. And then this would just be 1 times 115 plus 70, which is 185. And then now we just have to plug in M equals 10, and it should equal 135. So in this case, if we have 0.85 to the 10th power, that would be about 36. No, that would be about 0.2, 0.1969, I think, is the exact value of 0.85 to the 10th power, and then multiply that by 185, and we get 36.4. 36.4 is not 135, so it's not B. And then for answer choice D, if we do uh M equals 10, 10 over 5 is 2, so 0.75 to the second power times 115 is 64.69 plus 70, which is 134.7, which is approximately 135. So correct answer is D. Okay, question 30. Okay, someone said to explain question 29 again, so I guess I'll explain it again. So basically, it can't be A because this value is greater than 1, which means the temperature increases. It can't be C because when the number of minutes is 0, because the initial time is 6 p.m., which means the number of minutes since 6 p.m. is 0. So it should equal 185 at that time. And when we plug in M equals 0, answer choice C is not correct because this would just be 1 times 185 minus 70, which is not equal to 185. And then between answer choice B and D, we decide that by plugging in M equals 10 because 6:10 p.m. is 10 minutes after 6. So M is equal to 10. When we plug in 10 for M, we get that for answer choice B, the final temperature would be 36.4, and then for answer choice D, the final temperature would be 134.7. And we want a final temperature of 135. So that's why the correct answer is D. Is that better for that? Okay. Question 30. Okay, so for question 30, we have 9x plus 5 equals ax plus b. So first we can multiply out a, which gets us 9x plus 5 equals ax plus ab. And we're told this has no solutions. So for no solutions, we need to completely get rid of the x and have the constants be different values. So in this case, to completely get rid of the x, we need 9x on both sides, because if you subtract 9x from both sides, then you get rid of x completely. So in this case, a has to equal 9. So then we have 9x plus 5 equals 9x plus 9b. So one has to be true. And also, for you to have all real solutions, you have to have the same equation on both sides. And for you to have no solutions, you just have to have the constants be different values, but the x be the same value. So in this case, for no solutions, we need to find out about b. And so we know that a is 9, and we know that the final is 5. So 5 equals 9b. We divide by 9 on both sides and we get b equals 5 over 9. So if b is equal to 5 over 9, we would have all real solutions. And if b is not equal to 5 over 9, we have no solutions. So in this case, which of the following must be true? Well, b is not equal to 5 over 9 because we want no solutions. And 2 is not correct. B equals 5. I don't know where they got that from. I think they got that from if you didn't multiply out a. So in this case, 1 must be true and 3 must be true. So that would be answer choice D. Okay, question 31.
If anyone has questions, they can always raise their hand or put it in your chat.
Okay, so for question 31, we're given a quadratic function. We're asked, based on the model, what is the maximum daily profit in dollars? So the maximum daily profit is when this is at a peak, which is at 60. So the correct answer is 60. Usually for these type of questions, they wouldn't provide a graph and you'd have to actually plug in, but in this case, they did. So they made it easy. Okay, question 32. Okay, so question 32. This is basically just a calculator check if you brought a calculator or not. So in this case, it would just be 1,029,000 divided by 686. Because P is equal to this number and we need to find Q, so we just take P divided by 686, which gets us 1,500. So the correct answer is 1,500. Okay, question 33. Okay, so for question 33, we're given 0.02, which is here, and 30, which is here. And we're given the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. What is the value of b? Well, in that case, they give us b already. B is the y-intercept, so that would just be 2. B is 2. Okay, question 34. Okay, so for question 34, we're given that he's normally paid 20% of what he sells, and then if he earns a bonus, he earns 15% on his pay, so on this 20%. During one pay, he sold 3,500, so his retail value is 3,500, and he earns bonus. How much did he get for this? How much did he get paid? So in this case, we take 3,500 and multiply by 0.2 because that's 20%. So that would be 700. And then we take 15% of this, so 700 times 0.15 is equal to 105. And this is his bonus, and this is regular pay. And then how much was he paid essentially in total? So we take 700 and we add the bonus to it, which is 105, which gets us 805. So the correct answer is 805. Okay, question 35. Okay, so for question 35, we have for 100 shirts, it's $800, and this is the total cost, and this is the number of shirts. So in this case, we have 800 equals 100M plus 500. So in this case, subtract 500 from both sides, which is 300 equals 100M. Divide both sides by 100, which gets us M is equal to 3. And then what is the cost to produce 1,000 shirts? So 1,000 times 3 is 3,000 plus 500, which is 3,500. So correct answer is 3,500. Okay, question 36. Okay, so for question 36, we have at 0 meters, we have t equals 0, so the quadratic starts here, and it's at 10 seconds, it's 50, so like this, and at 20 seconds, it's 200, so this quadratic is sort of like this, and we need to find the object at 30 seconds. So in this case, at 10 seconds, if we use x squared, that would give us 10 squared, which is 100, which is double what we need for 50. So in this case, we just do 1/2 x squared. So 1/2 x squared, or 0.5 x squared, would basically be 10 squared is 100, divided by 2 is 50. And then we can also use 20 seconds to check. So if we do 20 squared, we would get 400, divided by 2 would get us 200. And yep, that's correct, because in this case we want 200. So in this case, it asks us what is the total distance traveled after 30 seconds. So in this case, we take 30 times 30. So 30 squared, which would just be 900. And then we divide by 2, which gets us 450. So the correct answer is 450. Okay, question 37. Okay, so for question 37, median for group B is how much greater than median for group A? So in this case, let's just find the median. So the median in this case would be so median for group B is 1, and then for the median for group A, oh wait, hold on. I did this wrong. Um, I see. So the medians are based on these scores. So in this case, um, we take the lowest score and the highest score, the lowest score, and this becomes a 2, and then this 2 and 2 cross out. So the median score here would be 5, and for group B, it would be this become 2, and this got crossed out. This become 1, this got crossed out. This would become 0, and this would become 1. This will become 1, this will become 0. So the median for this would be 6. So the median for group B is how much greater than the median for group A. So the median for group B is 6, and the median for group A is 5. So how much greater is B? Well, it's 1 greater. Okay, and question 38. Okay, so for question 38, mean for group A is 5, and mean for group B is 7. What is the mean for the combined score? Well, in this case, A has 9 in total and B has 11 in total. That's pretty important. So we take 5 times 9 plus 11 times 7. And then that gets us 122. And then we take that and divide by the 20 players, which gets us 6.1. So the correct answer in this case would be 6.1. Okay, And let me pull up the next SAT.
Uh, Maybe we can start the next SCT next time because we're almost at time. I mean, just 5 minutes left. So we can start the next SCT next time.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.